So as people may or may not know, Lucas's favorite movie of all time is Alice in Wonderland. This is like an ongoing joke only between myself that I have
Literally
been
not even me, because
slowly putting it into conversations that Lucas's favorite movie is Alice in Wonderland, and to the point where I can now insert it into conversations and he doesn't even correct me on it. Deep blacks, true blacks, even though it's really just gray and black next to each other, but whatever.
the Coca-Cola logo slides into frame.
Yeah. Whatever. So yes. And what does that mean exactly when you say, well, it's completely digital? Well, it means that they're transmitted through email, digital files of these movies. That's what they're using. They probably then put them onto a USB drive and then put it into the projector, I assume, unless the projector itself actually connects to the internet, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. The point is that it deals with the internet. And in the times, because, we looked it up before we officially started this today, in the rare instances that they aren't using a digital file, you know what they're using? A Blu-ray disc, a physical Blu-ray disc. So I guess in those instances, you would be able to see that movie. But the point is that physical media is super important, so much more important than people give it credit for, or even think of. It's almost like digital physical media are the bees of the entertainment industry. And what do I mean by that? Do you know what I mean by that?
Save the bees.
Yes. Bees are basically what keep everything existing, as far as, humans go and nature goes and food and all of that kind of stuff. Bees are dying at an alarming rate, and which is why it's like super important to keep them alive and to not kill bees and all that kind of stuff, because they pollinate flowers, they produce honey, and well, not all of them, but you know what I mean. They pollinate flowers, and without flowers getting pollinated, fruit is not growing, vegetables are not growing, and with bees dying, humans ultimately end up dying as well. I don't know, look into it. I won't spend too much time on that, but they look at bees as the most important insect in our entire ecosystem, one of the most important aspects of our ecosystem. And basically what I present in front of the court today is that physical media are the bees of the entertainment industry, because it's still super important. I mean, there's still things out there that are called, what are they called? They're Blu-rays, archive Blu-rays or archival Blu-rays. You know what those are?
Yes.
So they're Blu-rays specifically designed for companies that own the rights to these movies. That's where they store them on, are these archival discs. And so that's what they actually keep them on, are these specially designed Blu-rays that have like a 2 terabytes of data allowed on them or something like that. Each disc has that. And that's where they actually, store their catalog of movies. So like Universal stores, their Halloween movies, for instance, the ones that they own, on an archival Blu-ray disc. If you didn't know that,
Fun
And
fact.
there you go. You learned something today. So yeah. So we'd be screwed. That's ultimately what the point is.
Yes.
We'd be completely screwed as a people. But certain people that have large physical media collections would be completely fine. You would be fine. I would be fine. And we would probably be robbed or something.
So yeah, just the other day, one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? We had a conversation multiple times of Brandon trashing me for DVDs, and about a month ago, I was like, I need to get a new fucking shelf. So I had to get a new shelf. Insert picture here, and I've already ran out of space. I already need more shelving. Like it's ridiculous. And I only, you only have so much space to work with, so I can only display so many things. So my movies are in a box, half of them, not even half. A quarter of them are sitting in a box. The other three quarters are sitting in a trash bag, a box in a bag, because I have no space for them. I'm not going to watch them on DVD anytime soon. You know what I'm saying? So they're just sitting there. But this bag that's probably worth $5 would be, oh my God. Not just monetarily, right? But the hours of entertainment that are in that bag.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. If the internet got shut off and I couldn't watch people talk about horror movies and I had to go watch a horror movie, I'm gonna go sift through this bag. You know what? We had a conversation a while ago where, and it might even be on camera, on an episode, same thing, whatever, where you were like, oh, it's October, time to go, get out the VCR. I'm gonna watch my VHS copy of Halloween, and it's gonna take me back. You know what? I'm gonna load up the PS2, right? I'm gonna watch some DVDs on the old school TV. Hey, there's no internet, man. Let's party like it's 2004.
Yeah, well, maybe in that case, sure. But yeah, you are correct. I brought that up around Halloween, that I don't understand the people that do that, because there are people that do that and they post about it on Facebook, and I have to see it in, Halloween fan groups where they're like, look at what I'm watching right now. And it'll be the VHS of Halloween. And I'm like, but why?
There's some charm to
But
it.
why?
And it's just like I told you with the UMD situation. There is novelty to a UMD.
You know, it's funny, when I did say that in that previous episode, your response was, you're like, there's no reason to do it. Why wouldn't you want the highest quality? And I was like, I know.
Well, I've been hanging out with
It's changed a little
CRT.
bit.
I've been hanging out with CRT lately and really appreciating older stuff through that. It's fucking awesome, man. Totally awesome. And again,
I like the best quality version of whatever I'm watching personally, but
here for
good for you.
And good for you. All right. Well, anyway, you know what that's good for though? If you want to watch your old school, like full frame TV shows that kind of look like shit all blown up on your HD TV, look as good as you'll ever remember it on one of those bad boys.
Especially if you remember them looking like shit.
Go fuck yourself. One of these days I'm gonna get you.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. You mentioned TV shows. I was just at Second and Charles yesterday, right? And I saw shelves upon shelves upon shelves of TV shows, on DVD and Blu-ray being sold there, that very few people seem to have any interest in, mostly because of Netflix and HBO Max and Amazon Prime and all that kind of stuff, which TV shows are bigger now than they've ever been. I mean, that's an undeniable fact. You basically, like a TV show actor used to be looked at on a separate level as a movie actor. Now they're 100% on par with each other, and you can switch over from one to the next. And that used to not be the case. You would never
Yes, ma'am.
see a film actor show up in a TV show unless their career was dead, and you would never see a TV show actor, show up in a movie unless their career had been blown up, and then they would never return to a TV show, like Robin Williams, right? Like
Hmm.
Robin Williams started out on Happy Days, and then it became Mork and Mindy, and then he went into movies and never returned to TV again until he did in that TV show a few years ago, with Sarah Michelle Gellar, and I can't think of what it was called, but it was like a comedy, like a 30-minute comedy, and their minds were like blown about this. Like, why would he return to TV? Well, because that's when the TV landscape changed around that time, and TV became really serious. Like it was, The Office had something to do with it. Breaking Bad had something to do with it. And you name it. The Sopranos, which is a little further back, also had something to do with it. And
Hmm.
then as time went on, Game of Thrones and all that kind of stuff. Game of Thrones actors, Jesus, they're all movie stars for the most part. Um so where am I going with this? Well, I'll tell you.
You ain't
So
streaming those
all
bad
these
boys.
all these discs are just sitting there right now at Second and Charles for $2
Well,
each. And
I mean,
you're
it's
absolutely right. You can't stream them if you lose the internet. So what are you going to do? How
well,
are
it's
you
the
going to
it's
get
the
your
exact same
TV
thing
show
over
fix?
at Disc Replay in the very and it's so funny. Like it's the very, very, very back of the store, facing the back wall of the store, as if like just completely shunned, even
Yeah.
from the DVDs, are the TV, the box sets and they have every single, they have every single Family Guy, South Park, Simpson, like all the heavy hitters.
Yeah.
They'll have a full house there anytime you go.
Sure.
I just recently bought a.
Dexter.
Mm-hmm, I just recently bought a Four Stooges thing for my dad. It was $5 that had every single episode ever made ever on it. And you know what? I bet you it's been sitting there for like years.
So did it have Shep in it?
Yes, it did. You mean Shemp?
Shemp.
Actually,
Yeah, that's
yes.
right. Uh yeah. So um yeah, and it's funny because I'm somebody who has openly admitted as well that I love physical media, and even I have an over reliance on streaming when it comes to TV shows, because I do have some things that are on physical media, but
Yes,
not as many as I used to,
I
though.
didn't really take this like internal reflection, this time to take an inner look in, because I truly don't have much physical media for TV shows either. Now that you mention it, I everything, almost everything is on Hulu for TV shows. Quite a bit stuff, that I'm gonna watch anyway.
Hulu. See, your side note, Lucas hates Netflix
Yeah, I'm one of the. You know how Netflix
massively.
is losing all these subscribers?
Um,
I'm the model that is leaving Netflix.
you were the original.
Yes, I
Um,
was.
yeah, so Netflix is still, even with the issues it's facing, still super popular. And there are plenty of other stuff, like HBO Max is probably like looked at as the gold standard, as well as Amazon Prime. But I would say HBO Max even more so, because they have everything that is WB on there as far as TV shows and movies goes. But whatever. So I'm not a fan of Hulu personally, so I don't know if that comes across in what I'm saying, but I've never subscribed to them for longer than like a month. But whatever, if Hulu's your thing, that's cool. Anyway, it's just streaming in general. And when I was younger, I used to have tons of movies, yes, but tons of TV shows on DVD at that time. And that just kind of went away. When it became Blu-ray, I continued on with it for a little bit. And then certainly when it got to 4K, which you really almost never even see a
DVDs,
TV show in 4K.
you know, that's the thing. DVDs were every show has a DVD release.
Yep.
Not every show has Blu-ray releases, and even when they were expensive as fuck to get a TV show on Blu-ray compared to DVD.
It was more expensive, but it also depends what you're talking about as well. So when it comes to like one of my favorite TV shows is Monk, it's a NBC Universal property. It never got a Blu-ray release.
You could have starred in that
only
show.
was DVD. Yes. I could have starred in it.
Yeah, you could have been the lead for Monk.
Yes. Yes. And I lost my train of thought, but that's an example of something, and there's a few of them, but that's an example of one that
Trailer
only
Park
got a
Boys never
DVD
got a
release,
Blu-ray
and that
release.
was it.
And I don't even know if it ever got released in America. I think it was because it was a Canadian show. I think it only had a Canadian release up until the 8th season. Netflix bought them out for the 9th and then onward, I believe.
Okay.
So 1 through 8 you can get on DVD, never got released on Blu-ray, which saddens me. And I still don't even own them on DVD, which I don't even have Netflix anymore. So I have no way to watch them other than pirating them.
Anyway,
I'm not really a pirate anymore. I wasn't when I was a kid though.
You shouldn't be. It's interesting though, because whatever. So it's not always the case though. Like Friends.
Oh yeah, and all you people that pirate, you're not pirating your movies when the internet's gone.
Oh hell no, you're not. Hell no, you're not.
I didn't even think of that.
I didn't either. That's a good one.
That's gonna bring a whole new era into. I'm onto something.
You'd be forced to only do physical media and buying it, and it's just it would be like the resurgence of physical media. It really would be. But anyway, so Friends, when it released on Blu-ray, I would say it was pretty comparable price, and if not massively cheaper, because they started doing this thing where it was the entire series together, since Blu-ray discs can hold more data than a DVD can. So it would just be the entire series collection, and they did that with Breaking Bad and The Sopranos and Game of Thrones, and you name it, you get the entire series on just a few discs, so that was a possibility. So traditionally Blu-ray ended up being cheaper than DVD was, I guess, originally when it came to TV shows. And then, going back to what I said before, very few TV shows ever release in 4K. It streams in 4K, which we've talked about before. Streaming in 4K is just 1080p. If we're going to get down to brass tacks, I
don't even know how many shows are filmed in 4K anyway to get a benefit.
I think a lot of them.
Regardless,
I think a lot of them. It's pretty common practice to use the Red camera or the Ari Alexa camera, which that is full 4K video. So those are like the standard now as far as filming movies and TV shows. So so I think a lot of them are. And yeah, so I do have ultimately a point here eventually, though. You wouldn't think it, but a couple years ago, for any Doctor Who fans out there, which, side note, Doctor Who Blu-rays are some of the most disgustingly overpriced Blu-rays you'll ever see in your entire life. And I don't really know why that is. They're like Disney. You know how Disney never really decreases in value? Like you see like a Toy Story, which is Disney Pixar. You see like a Toy Story Blu-ray going for $20, and it will always go for $20 for some reason.
You can get them at Disc Replay for like $6 a piece. When Disney Plus came out, like there was a huge bunch of people trading in their discs. I see, and it's funny you mentioned that too, because I was walking around the store. I'm like, holy shit, Toy Story for $6 on Blu-ray. I'm gonna go sell this for $30. I go on eBay. It wasn't even worth more than 10.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
And yeah, look it up from Disney Plus.
So yeah, Disney Plus damaged some things in that
But see,
that
that's the thing.
aspect,
We're
which
looking
is
at an area where we remove that. Right back up, baby.
yeah, right back up to being ridiculously expensive. But I don't
Your
know if it's
point is
because
true,
of
though.
the BBC or what, but they would make, like, I bought season 8, or they call it series 8, you know, because series is how
Yeah.
British people say season, apparently. So there'll be like series 8 of the series Doctor Who. Like, it's like it doesn't work, but
Yeah.
whatever. I bought series 8 on Blu-ray, and that it was like $80. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The whole series
And
should have been $80.
yeah, right.
Not saying it's not worth it. You know what I mean? But I'm
No,
just,
no, for
yeah.
sure. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I would say, yes, definitely what is called New Who, which is 2005 moving forward, because the show did start in 1960. 1961, 1960. I'm a bad fan.
You're
It
not a
was the
true fan.
60s. It was the 60s. Anyway, that's when it originally started. So there was a lot there for $80 if that's what they were doing. But yes, your point for 2005 moving forward, yes, the whole series should be $80. Anyway, so that one was $80, and it was like ridiculous, but I had to do it because there was no other way to watch it at the time. And then all of a sudden it popped up on Netflix, and Netflix had a deal with the BBC where they not only got the New Who, like I was mentioning, but they got, you know, classic Doctor Who as well. It was everything, and it was amazing.
And then you sold your copy.
No, I still have it, but again, it's just season 8. um, but Netflix ended up losing that deal. They lost it, just like with Friends. You know, they lost Friends, and they paid $100 million to get Friends back for 1 year. That's how important it was to them.
Holy fuck.
And they got it back for 1 year, and then it reverted back, and it went to Peacock, because that's
you could have just bought it on
Universal.
DVD.
Yes, you could have. Blu-ray would have been the way to go. But yes, yeah, so same thing happened there, and all of a sudden, as soon as Friends left Netflix, it in digital form skyrocketed in price, you know, because people were like, you know, I have a digital code, you know, that kind of thing, and they were selling it. When Doctor Who left Netflix, it didn't get picked up by another service right away. You know, like, everybody knew Friends was going to Peacock. Peacock took a little bit to get started, so there was a period of time where it was like you couldn't watch Friends unless you went and bought the Blu-ray or whatever. But when Doctor Who left Netflix, there was like 6 months to a year that it had no platform to be on. And eventually Amazon Prime got a hold of it. And now it's one of the few TV shows that sits on multiple streaming services. It sits on Amazon Prime, and it also sits on HBO Max, if you can believe it. So it's very strange. But my point, again, I promised you I had a point, is as soon as Doctor Who left Netflix, the DVDs, because the show only exists in DVD from 2005 until 2010, was only released in DVD. And then 2010 until now was released in Blu-ray. They went up in price so hard, the physical versions of these. I mean, I tried to get my hands on them. I tried, because I was like, I want to watch Doctor Who, and I can't. And there's nowhere to watch it digitally because it was gone. It was just MIA, completely missing. You had nowhere you could get it.
Well, yeah, the second it gets pulled, everybody gets that FOMO, right? The fear of missing out. That's, I mean, that's my
Yeah.
biggest problem with collecting anything in the physical realm is the FOMO, man. It is a real thing, and it can be anxiety inducing, like to think that I'm going to miss out on this piece of media. And the funny thing is, it's just floating around on eBay everywhere, but it really takes over your
Yes, but it was for a
mentality.
lot of money though.
Oh,
So
I know there's a
it
price
was too
associated with it, but
rich.
you can still always get it.
It was too rich for my blood.
What was it going
At
for?
that well, at that time it was like it was 9 or 10 seasons that existed at that time. And
We're talking about a whole set then that they're selling?
No, it's separate, all separate, because they've never
They were
released
scalping
it.
it. Oh, okay.
They've never released like a an actual collected a complete set, because the show is still going. So you can't
Oh,
do
I
a
didn't know if they
complete
maybe
set.
released like complete, like incremental up until like a lot of series or movies.
Yeah, they don't for some reason. Probably because again it's the BBC. But anyway, so no, you had to buy it individually. And I would say that if you went and bought everything, and keep in mind a good amount of these, 4 of them were just DVDs, just straight up DVDs. I would say if you were to buy the entire series, it was probably going to cost you $500 or $600.
That's a rich
And
man's TV show.
it was
I wouldn't be watching
certainly,
it.
it
I'm
was too rich for
Pirate
my
Bay.
blood. And it was like just buying one of the DVD sets alone, which was Christopher Eccleston or David Tennant, that alone was like 50 or $60. Just a DVD. A DVD.
That's crazy.
Yeah, if not more. And so they would, sometimes people would sell like the entire run of one actor. They'd be like, here's just all of David Tennant, and that was like $200 or $300. And they'd be like, here's all Matt Smith, or here's all Peter Capaldi, whatever. So they took me a really long roundabout, very just scatterbrained way to get to my final point here. And that is that if there's anybody that's doubting that chaos would ensue as far as physical media went, if this kind of thing happened, just look at the Doctor Who situation, because it happened. There was those moments where people could not get their hands on a beloved TV show. And like you said, it was like FOMO, fear of missing out, that they immediately went insane and started actually buying up these sets for mass quantities of money. And people are making good money off of it. So now when I see it in the store, like I saw the entire series split up at Second and Charles, and there's still a part of me that's like, should I buy it?
Why don't you have it yet?
Because it finally was picked up by the other company.
So you're just waiting and waiting and waiting until this definitive set comes out?
I don't know. The show would have to end for that to happen, and it doesn't seem like it's ending anytime soon.
So you're just never gonna buy it?
Knock on wood. I don't know. I mean, I can watch it now. Like I can stream it and watch it, because like I said, it's on Amazon Prime and it's on HBO Max. HBO Max it has ownership of it.
Well, I mean, just because Harry Potter's streaming doesn't mean I don't want to own them all. You know what I mean?
But it's different. We kind of just talked about this, though. It's different when it comes to movies as opposed to TV shows, though. So, because any movie that I love, I get it. But TV shows, for some reason, it doesn't translate the same way for me. It's very strange, unless it's something.
With a movie, you buy it once or it's a series, sure, but the TV show is sometimes 20 plus years of tracking down and buying all of it, I guess. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Unless it's not all conveniently put together for you, of course.
Right. And and like I said, for Doctor Who, it's not. You would still have to. The series 1 through 4 is still only available on DVD. And that'll probably never change for whatever reason, because that's
People
the
are
way it was
happy with
shot.
DVDs.
It was shot in standard definition. It wasn't shot in HD. And everything
Watch
from
it on there, it'll
series
look great.
5 moving forward was shot in HD, hence the Blu-ray, So
Yes.
but I guess there's not really anything else for me to say about it. And I could have said it for sure in a much more clear and concise manner. But basically at the end of the day, it's just I wanted to put it out there and show that this is a real possibility. I hope it doesn't happen. I'll be honest with you, but
Yes.
all it takes is for us to potentially go to war with Russia, and they'll do the same thing to us that they did to the Ukraine. And I don't want to be like fear mongering, because I hate that. I hate when people do that. And I think that it doesn't really come off as super genuine, especially because I want you to watch us talk and be stupid because it's funny and to have fun. I don't want you to think of like dark, depressing things, obviously. But it is a possibility. I mean, just think about that in the back of your mind. And if it does happen and we do somehow just lose access to all our internet, it'll be the Doctor Who situation on steroids. And if you don't believe me on that, or believe us on what we've talked about today, just wait, because it will happen. And yes. I don't know. I wish in conclusion, I'll say this, and then you can say whatever you want to say in conclusion. I kind of secretly hope, after this entire conversation today, I secretly hope that there is a way for the internet to be cut off without war being involved. Honestly, because I would kind of love this situation.
If there was a blackout for 5 days, I'm fine with that, bro.
Like, I don't think I need more than that.
Well, I mean, that's the whole thing where I told you my life would improve, right? I was just thinking of like weeks to months without it, right? I'm thinking I'll finally catch up on this backlog of movies and games. Not only will I catch up on this backlog, I'm going to have this void from YouTube that's just ripped out of me, right? So I'm just going to be taking notes while playing these games, and then maybe film some B-roll, because I can still film things, just can't upload it.
Correct.
I could just kind of get in the groove, I think I would just be a lot more productive. The internet really YouTube is such a distraction for me, man. It's so bad. That's why at work, I don't bring my AirPods at night when I try to close. I'm just going to get distracted listening to the Collector's Market podcast. And you know what I mean?
Did you stop doing that? Because you used to do it.
I don't. I get way too distracted. I start selecting what video I want to listen to, what song. It takes, and then I start screaming even more than I already do because I can't hear myself talk.
Do you own any physical CDs?
I have a couple, not very many. I have more vinyls than I do CDs.
Oh, okay.
Which kind of saddens me. I really miss my old CD collection. And funny you mention it. I've considered going on eBay and just buying like bulk CD lots for $5 because I
go to Second and Charles.
Okay. Because they don't have that disc replay anymore.
Yeah, they have an entire couple sections, but a really big section of just CDs. It reminds me of like Borders, like what Borders used to have in it. Mm-hmm. Or
dude, Borders Barnes used to have Noble. Such a decent selection of DVDs. Like,
yes, but they were very expensive.
They were expensive because it was at a bookstore. But I just remember there was this Borders in Birmingham, and it had an upper level, and the media section was on the upper level. And I just remember looking around. I honestly believe I got my DVD copy of Spaceballs from there. I could be wrong, but I remember seeing that there and other movies. I just remember the movie selection not being schlock. Like, it wasn't just trashy garbage.
I remember Titanic being there
on VHS, DVD.
I think,
or was it
a good question? It might have been the Big Daddy. It might have been this Big Daddy here, and
the 2-tape set.
Oh God. Yeah, I think it might have been this, and it was
I have that upstairs.
encased. It was encased. No, you only have one of them, don't you? It was
Oh,
encased
you're
in a
right.
plastic like container, so you couldn't steal it. Like it was
Hmm.
just giant plastic container, like Best Buy has for things, except bigger. I'm gonna say it one more time, bigger, because imagine this thing enclosed in plastic, and it was like $40.
It's crazy how
And I was
much
like, wow.
space VHS, takes up.
Correct.
And even at
Correct.
Suncoast, I remember like the widescreen presentation version of VHSs were like at like minimum $30, and this is in the 90s, so it's probably worth like $70 today for inflation.
Correct. Yeah, you're right about that.
So
Um,
and that's also, I guess if there's one last thing you want me to say, I'll say this. I mean, yes, game prices are expensive, movie prices are expensive, but in relative terms to inflation, games and movies have never been cheaper on a consumer level. When we were kids, Mario 64 was like a $60-$70 game for
I
that
know.
cartridge.
I
That's why I
know.
only had like 3 or 4 N64 games growing up. I didn't have very many.
Hmm.
PS1 and PS2 games were cheaper. They were CDs. Uh,
Yeah, I had
um,
like 12 of them, I think, over time.
I had more as I got older because
I
then I just
never
got a
kept
job and started buying them. I didn't either.
the box that they came in though. There was a little period of time that I had the box for The World Is Not Enough N64,
Mm.
like sitting in the computer stand, and they were just made out of cheap thin cardboard, and
If you
so they
folded it
wouldn't hold
twice, it would
up.
fucking rip. I had
Yeah,
a friend
they don't hold up.
who literally cut the sides off of them and turned it into a flap and then put it in like the Sega Genesis type box and just made it like a case.
Huh.
Which
That's
I
cool.
wouldn't feel good mutilating it, but at least you have the original and it's
Yeah.
in on a case
Yeah.
displayable. You can go and
Yeah.
print off, versions that'll fit in a box. I'll put a picture of it up right here. It's just kind of expensive to do this and make it look good. For like my NES and my Super Nintendo games, I would like to get.
Yeah.
But they also have these things you can get online. I don't remember the name of the company, but I'll put it up here again. It's a box the size of like the cartridge, just barely bigger, so it will slide in there. It looks like a cassette tape box, but it's a
Mm-hmm.
reproduction of the box art. So it's a little mini version of the box art, the front and the back, and it's the cutest. It's just cute. It's the cutest little thing I've ever seen. I'll put it up here.
That's pretty
I've
good.
wanted to buy
Yeah,
them for my older games, but
I
yeah,
would
games
hate
are so cheap to
mutilating it
buy.
as well.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would print something off the internet, but games are and movies
Yeah.
are so cheap to buy relatively. Because, like, again, a $70 game back then, and that's not adjusting for inflation. That's like $140 for Mario 64, and that's about what you're paying for a complete
Super
in-box copy
expensive.
anyway.
Yeah.
So, like I said, a
Also,
lot of these things are at kind of like retail value, what they would have been back in the day. So, pick and choose. I don't know.
for anybody that still has some type of N64 case sitting around, or box rather, I can't call it a case. They do make protectors for them, just like they make steelbook protectors. So you
Oh
can be
yeah,
aware
they
of that.
probably already have that if they have a box. I don't care about having box
Probably.
cartridge games like that because, like I said, it was cardboard. It's going to get thrown away regardless. But I do want to get a
Cheap.
box copy of Mario 64. I do want that.
Oh my
I
God.
want all
So
the inserts.
expensive.
Well,
So
if you're talking
expensive.
about like the graded one, sure, but you can get a complete in box copy on eBay for $200.
I would say that probably a bit more than $200. Um, but even if it's $200, I mean that's hefty. But yeah, it would be cool. I had it. I had
I did
it.
too.
And unfortunately it went away. But so I did bring up music though, because again, I love CDs, but I that's one of those other weird things that I have fallen off purchasing, mostly because they're not available anywhere anymore. Walmart has a tiny little section,
I know I looked that up last night.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
But other
It's
than that,
literally like
or
this big and this
it
tall.
is. Yep. Other than stores like that, like their vinyl selection is bigger.
Meyer
Other
has a
than
lot of
stores
CDs, but
like
it's
that.
all old, new stock. New old
Okay,
stock.
yeah.
New old stock. Yeah.
I mean, bands still release CDs. You just have to go and track them down. But whatever, they're not as easily accessible. So I don't really buy CDs that much anymore. Plus, there's Apple Music. Unless you have it all downloaded on your phone and you're prepared to not download any more.
Personally,
from this point forward, you're screwed
my
if this
CDs
happens.
to iTunes. Rip the
I
CDs
miss
to
those
iTunes,
days.
put it on your iPod.
Yeah, I miss those days.
I mean, it was awesome. Like if you had the CD, you had the CD. You didn't have to pay to do it again, and there wasn't a license issue with it. I mean, God, dude, iPod was so cool back in the day, man. But
I miss that so much. And
other
again,
than
it was the only way that I could listen to Radford Stay.
yes, I forgot about that.
I'm mentioning it again because in that other video I mentioned it, and I was like, oh, that's a perfect opportunity to play a little bit of it. And it wasn't played, so I'm saying it again. Radford Stay. I'm on a rocket ship. Don't know if I can stop. But again, it's not the new Radford Stay because there's a new Radford Stay for some reason. Why would the same band release a new song with the same title that's completely different? Unless they lost the rights to it or something. It's very strange.
Lost rights to their own song.
It's like a Taylor Swift situation where she had to re-record her first 2 albums because her management wouldn't give her the rights. Like they own the rights. So all of her first 2 albums are like her popular songs too. Like all of her notable songs, she had to re-record them all. So she had ownership over them. Yeah. It was Scooter Braun, who's also Justin Bieber's manager.
What an ass.
Yeah. But I don't know, whatever.
I'm gonna go on eBay and look for some CDs after this conversation.
Do that.
Actually, before my shift, I'll be sitting in the car, my preliminaries 10-minute scroll. Oh boy. I want CDs. I like CDs. I like the booklets that they came in, they have either the lyrics or like a description of how they made the album, behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, pictures and stuff. Yeah, it is cool.
I always like using my PS1 as a CD player.
Missing. Got that right there. Look at that, Old Navy.
Yes.
Or the great Michael Crawford.
Brandon's favorite Phantom.
He's like a British David Hasselhoff.
Yes. Maybe a little chunkier.
How dare you? I think he's skinny. He's kind of old, yeah.
But anyway, so our old DVDs are Michael Crawford CDs.
That good.
There it is.
Oh God.
You and those damn headphones.
I told you about this, right?
Yeah, you did.
I purchased it and it was like, it's a DVD. Yeah, it certainly is.
You just fucking ripped it from the VHS and burned it.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Highly illegal.
Highly. I don't think that anybody cares about this movie though, except me. So nobody's actually going to go and
he just printed that out on his computer.
Anything about
like, is it just 8x11 shit paper?
It's shit paper.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. It's shit paper.
If you get high gloss paper and print out a high res image, you can get really, really good box art. Oh God.
I think that says Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, that's really bad.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's because it's a terrible
Well, that's how you're watching that fucking movie when the internet goes out. So
this is better quality, which is the real one.
I bet you it looks better than the DVD even.
Oh yeah, like if you put this into a VHS, it probably does. Look at Pierce Brosnan is actually legible on there.
Nice.
Look at that sexy bitch in that coat.
Brandon's love. Well, when James Bond has been with men, we know who it was.
Indeed.
With Brandon.
He's probably like, "Can I wear my own coat?" And they're like, "Sure." I remember this being such a good movie, and I'm sure I would watch it now and be like, "Oh Jesus."
Yes, indeed.
It's a made-for-TV movie.
Oh God.
In like 1994. Anyway,
I hope you guys enjoyed us rambling, basically tangent nonstop about our physical media collections and
correct
how much they'll be appreciated and go up in value exponentially.
Correct.
I mean, this almost makes me want to go through the bag of DVDs and just look at them, look at them to see what's worth it and what's not, and purge the ones I don't want. Actually, that's what I should. That's what I think I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have some time off work recently, and then in that I'm gonna take a trip to the store, and I'm just gonna unload all these old games. I'm gonna purge some of my games too, actually, because I have a stupid amount.
Only ones that aren't valuable, though. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody.
All right, hold on. All right, now you can do it.
Anyway, so we rambled on long enough, that's for damn sure. And
I think we'd be really good in the world without the internet.
I think that we probably would.
I think we're like
we probably would thrive. We're basically like walking Wi-Fi hotspots, the two of us. Because you don't even we're like entertainment right there.
We're just a full-on show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. You don't need the internet when you're around us. I will say, this is truly the last thing.
Yes.
It would be hard to get used to not just having the answer to anything like that, though. You know what I mean?
Having to go back to the library and having to look in the index.
Yeah.
Go look in the appendix in the back. There's a glossary. Those are different things. Table of contents. Right. Not to mention
dictionaries
get into there. Yeah,
you probably remember
I had a pocket dictionary in school. Was that what you were gonna say?
I had that too. I also had a little pocket digital dictionary as well.
Oh, from the 90s and early 2000s, yes.
Yeah, it was like you could type and stuff, and one day I was defining a word and it started talking about thongs. It kept inserting the word thongs into the definition. And both my teacher and my parents were like, "You can't use that anymore." That's a true story.
That's
unfortunately.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah, it's very strange. But yeah, so that would get hard. That would be hard to get used to be like, oh, what's the what does that word mean? Or what was that one movie? And who's that one actor?
I really miss GPS.
What's that song? Yeah, I'm sure you would.
Yeah, you know me. I can't find my way out of a Cracker Jack box.
Correct. I'd mostly be okay.
Yeah, you'd be fine.
Mostly because I'm like Lucas, it's just north. It's north. And you're like, I don't know where that is. What's north? What's south? I don't know where I'm looking.
I think north is always directly in front of me, regardless of where I'm standing.
Like, I'm facing north. North. And I'm like, no. There was that one day, what was it? I was like, anyway, thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your morning.
I won't. Thank you.
Afternoon or night. Lucas won't be. He'll
Bye,
be
everybody.
crying in the corner.
Yes. Again.